you, green.com. And let the pros do all the work while you sit back and you enjoy. You can act like you did all the work, but we'll keep it a secret. Exclusions apply. See truegreen.com for details.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Monday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, sunshine and a high of 81 with a gentle breeze at 10 miles per hour out of the south-southwest. For tonight, clear skies and a low near 70. Tomorrow, a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour, mostly sunny and a high around 81. For Wednesday, some sun and a high of 79. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
That boot store can help you dress in style, from casual Western wear for a night out with family and friends to a special meeting that requires a fashion touch with Western flair. From boots to hats, belts to shirts to jeans and a lot more for the smallest of the largest in name brand Western attire, including Carhartt work clothes. Shop that boot store for the whole family. Open Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. Next to Billboard Kia, 15th Street, Panama City, where God is good all the time.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Hewitt Tire and Auto. Call 850-769-7323. Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing. Visit them online at HewittTire.com. On Airport Road in Panama City. 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Need a tow? Call Billy at Hometown Towing, 850-265-1562.
Donors choose. Support a classroom. Build a future. Did you know that every year, public school teachers spend nearly $500 of their own money for student supplies? Let's do the math. That comes out to over $1.2 billion a year. And that's just not right. At Donors Choose, we want students and teachers to have the tools they need for a great education. And now, more than ever, they need your help. Here's what you can do. Go to DonorsChoose.org and choose from teachers' requests that support reading, math, science, history, and more. Once a request is funded, we'll take care of shipping everything directly to the teacher. It's that easy. You'll receive thank you letters and photos from students and teachers and a report of how every dollar was spent. Teachers' needs have never been greater. Learn more at DonorsChoose.org. Donors Choose. Support a classroom. Build a future.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Now back to the Inside Drive. Live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. It's the next evolution of Sports Talk Radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now, we're taking...
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got in the bag.
The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. It is Monday. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City and Panama City Beach. 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast. Port St. Joe, Apalachicola, all those beautiful areas down there. We appreciate all of our listeners tuning in this morning as we do have three great local shows. The Coach James Hale Show from 7 to 9, Inside Drive right here from 11 to 1, and of course the Afternoon Underdogs from 4 to 6 p.m. I know the voting hasn't gotten back up yet, but when it does, don't worry. I will make sure I tell you about that. You can always watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share after the fact as well. And that is on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All you have to do is search ESPN at Northwest Florida. We appreciate if you already follow. We appreciate if you already watch. And we certainly do appreciate if you share all of our live shows. It just maybe gets to somebody that's never heard or seen about us before. And that goes a long way for our hosts here on ESPN at Northwest Florida. You can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. All you got to do there is search 104.3. It'll pop up. Lots of great contests, lots of great information. And, of course, you can listen live as well inside the free mobile app. I guess it's inside. It's not on top, that's for sure. It's definitely inside the app. You have to open it up. So I guess it's like a present. It's inside the box. So it's inside our free mobile app there.
A beautiful present it is.
Yes, indeed. Lots of gifts. The gift that keeps on giving, some might say. You can also head over to ESPNPC.com. You can listen live there anytime as well. But at ESPNPC.com, you should be really going there to check out all of our awesome information. But then, of course, signing up for Scorpion TV for $41.99 a month using code ESPN-N or just ESPN-NW. I think it used to be dash back in the day. But just ESPN-NW is going to get you that big discount. That's over 2,000 channels on demand, over 10,000 movies on demand as well. But the best part, it includes all the pay-per-view events, all the extra paid sports subscriptions, NFL Sunday Ticket. And it's not the actual paid subscription. It's just you have access to all the games with all their local and regional channels. But, yeah, check that out, ESPNPC.com. We got a great show coming up for you guys today. At 11:20, we'll be joined by Al Carl. I believe this will be the third week in a row as he is the lead ice technician there for the Washington Capitals. Huge NHL guy, of course. And he'll be joining us throughout the remainder of the playoffs, which it's getting a little close for some of these teams being eliminated, and it's getting a little tighter for some of these other matchups. We'll dive into some NHL action, some playoff action. Been some fantastic games over the weekend with our good friend Al Carl. And then we'll dive in with Alan Watson a little bit later on, our studio sponsor. That's Golf Plus, PCB, and Dothan. Look forward to talking to him about what he thought about the tournament this past weekend. And there's a new, I don't want to say it's a new, but kind of a new old trend that's kind of back in the golf business. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But first, before we dive into that, we're going to recap a little bit of this NFL draft action. Obviously, the talk of the draft, Shedeur Sanders. At one point, I kind of thought that was, on purpose. I'm always a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, but, it's good for that. How many people really continue to watch the draft all the way through? I guarantee people were at least paying attention to what was going on in the draft all the way up until, their teams either finished drafting or Shedeur finally got picked. But
yeah, that's a very fair point that it could have been that situation.
But you never have any really clue about anything that's going on in this world right now. I got some good afternoon delight debriefs coming up today, too.
Oh, yeah?
Well.
Dealing with Ulbricht's son?
Yes. But
that's wild.
That is pretty crazy. But
I think this is the best possible scenario for Shedeur not going to Cleveland. That's not what I mean at all.
Yeah.
I mean just getting drafted or being passed on so many times. So now it's like you got to prove it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, too. You don't know what any of these guys are going to do until they step on an NFL field in an NFL game. Because, I mean, tape in college, it's great, but show me what you did in the NFL, and that's where you see these, some contracts are good, some contracts that probably not deserving, but that's for another day and another topic of conversation. I'm just going to kind of go down through the players, not all the rounds, but just going to go through, some of the highlight positions, the quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, and where they kind of went. We'll start with the quarterbacks. Everybody knows the Tennessee Titans, picked up Cam Ward with the number one pick, and now the future, I guess, is in Cam Ward's hands, and we'll see if he impacts Tennessee like all the Tennessee fans are hoping he does. Cautiously optimistic, I'm sure.
He's brought a lot of hope to the Titans fans. I think everyone, once they've started to see more interviews of him and whatnot, you're like, man, this guy really does have his head on his shoulders. Is he going to be able to play? And he seems like a real leader. So, and he seems, all in on the Titans. So I think that's a big deal.
Absolutely. I mean, he seems excited. He's already there. He's ready to rock and roll. The second quarterback selected in the draft, kind of a surprising one for most. I think a lot of people thought that would have been Shedeur, but ended up being Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart. The Giants traded, I believe, down for that pick. I forget exactly. But anyway, they took Jackson Dart with the 25th pick in the first round of the draft. So only 2 quarterbacks. We maybe thought there would be 3, but, 2 quarterbacks went in the first round of the draft. I think that's the least amount of quarterbacks in the first round of the draft in quite some time, if I'm not mistaken.
And not very
pretty expected.
It's not overwhelming.
Yeah, pretty expected. I mean, the quarterback class we knew was, I hate to use the term weak, but there's really not another term to use there. Third quarterback selected in the draft, Tyler Shuck out of Louisville, went to the New Orleans Saints with the 8th pick in the second round of the draft. Did you see any of the memes were going around that said the Saints got logged out of Yahoo Fantasy?
And auto-drafted.
And then it auto-drafted before they could log back in. But, he was a good quarterback for Louisville and, had a great combine, and a lot of people were saying he was pretty high up. Third quarterback to go in the draft was, again, not until the third round, and that was Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe. He went to the Seattle Seahawks with the 28th pick in the third round. That was a trade for that pick as well. So
that was awesome, because I was actually tuned in at that point, and Sean Alexander announced that pick. Sean Alexander went to Bama, and so I thought that was really cool and a great landing place. I do think for Jalen Milroe as well. Would have been better, I think, if Geno was still over there. But
I don't even know who Seattle's starting quarterback or QB1 is right now.
Who did they end up getting? Because it's not Sam Howell. Well, Drew Lock was over there for a little bit, but
I think Sam Darnold ended up over there.
Sam Darnold, that's right.
Yeah, there was a trade, I think, Saturday or Sunday that happened that Sam Darnold's or it was part
Sam
of
Darnold was already with the Seahawks, so going into the draft, though. Yeah. He had signed his deal over there.
Gotcha. Interesting. Anyway, next quarterback, actually next 2 quarterbacks went to the Cleveland Browns. I think just a lot of people didn't expect this one.
Right.
So they currently have 5 QBs on their roster right now, but the 30th pick in the third round, the Cleveland Browns took Dylan Gabriel out of the University of Oregon. And then the next quarterback to go, obviously in the 5th round with the 6th pick, I think Cleveland was surprised he was still around, and they took Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado. Then you had Kyle McCord go in the 6th round to the Philadelphia Eagles. Will Howard went to the Pittsburgh Steelers from Ohio State. So Steelers obviously have a quarterback situation, and now they just really have Will Howard on their roster. Riley Leonard went in the 6th round to the Colts out of Notre Dame. Graham Mertz went to the Houston Texans following... No. I was thinking of Anthony Richardson. Never mind. I was going to say 2 Florida guys over there, but no, it's the Anthony Richardson's on the Colts.
Yeah.
Anyway, 6th round, Graham Mertz from Florida went to the Houston Texans, and then Cam Miller was drafted to the Raiders out of North Dakota State, and then Curtis Rourke was drafted by the 49ers out of Indiana. Quinn Ewers drafted by the Miami Dolphins out of Texas.
Who would have thought that Quinn Ewers would have been the final one picked? And we saw his, you talk about the colossal slide that Shedeur Sanders had. But the one that Quinn Ewers had, it's wild that that's not talked about. You could almost play the reverse race card on that. Like, if he was black, how big of a deal would have it been that Quinn Ewers slipped that far? But we all saw that, man.
Yeah.
I don't think we saw it as much with Shedeur Sanders. I think that the conversations dealing with the pride, I guess, of Shedeur Sanders was one of the biggest focal points. And
I've got a quote here coming up next, whether it's true or not.
Right.
It's your opinion to take it as true, or your decision to take it as opinion or fact. But yeah, Quinn Ewers, a lot of people are saying, man, you should have just transferred somewhere. You probably would have made more money. But
he would have made more money and would have been able to kind of bring that draft stock up a little bit. Because even next year, looking at it right now, there's going to be a lot of hubbubaloo around Arch Manning.
Yeah.
But not so much. What's next? Cade Klubnik? And someone's going to, rise above the crop, kind of like Cam Ward did last year. But it's not a very strong draft class as it stands right now, quarterback-wise, for 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Real quick, just a quote. Again, you can take it as how you like. I'm just reading a quote that I've not stumbled across, but searched up for and found one. This is from Pro Football Debate. Huge bombshell. This quote is coming directly from an anonymous team personnel that sat in an interview with Shedeur Sanders. We know this to be true from our sources. Again, take it as you want. Combat and defend this as you wish, but there are elite jobs, and you'd expect someone to have humility and professionalism no matter who you are. Guarantee this is the exact reason he fell in the draft. The assessment was true, but it was severely sugar-coated. Imagine Terrell Owens, his father, Chad Johnson, and Jim McMahon multiplied by 10,000. This individual wore so much cologne to the interview assessment that the coach suggested they go for a walk because he was concerned the individual might faint from the overpowering scent. He wore headphones around his neck with music playing throughout the entire interview and brought his entire entourage to the building. In my 33 years in the NFL, I've never encouraged a prima donna of this caliber. When the coach asked where he envisioned himself in 5 years, his reply was, mayor of the city, followed by a loud laugh and clapping. His quarterback skills are mediocre at best. If he were playing in the SEC, we wouldn't have even been having this conversation because he wouldn't have even been a starter. And let's say, hypothetically, someone does draft him and they lose their first 4 or 5 games. Do you think an organization wants to hear him complain with his father screaming racism or critiquing the coaching staff on ESPN about why his son is a subpar player? No team needs or wants that distraction. There were a few defensive players who saw him, wanted us to draft him solely so they could knock him out in practice. If anyone drafts him, my guess would be the Cowboys, with Jerry Jones doing a favor for Dion. This was obviously before the draft. You would think a lot of having a Hall of Famer father would lead to advice against not acting like a jerk. But he's not a team player. He's a me player. He's a young kid, and young kids make mistakes. But all this talk about God's plan with Sanders' entourage, well, God's plan just humbled that young man and showed him his behavior stinks like the rest of us. My prediction is he'll be a backup and end up being another Johnny Manziel situation. If there's one person to blame for this, it's his father, who still hasn't learned anything at 57 years old, walking into Jackson State, then Colorado, dancing around like MC Hammer, trying to put the spotlight on himself pregame and halftime. He's a total... They say something inappropriate there at the end that I'm not going to read. Again, this is a quote from a staffer that was supposedly around during one of the interviews. This is not my opinion, not David's opinion. I mean, it might be David's opinion. I don't know. But it's certainly not my opinion.
I did not write this.
No doubt. But, I mean, if in fact true, I mean, it's just... Organizations are looking for guys that are ready to come in and work and put the team in front of themselves. At least I think they are. I mean, that's what most teams are, with youth and all that stuff anyway. And what's the quote? There's no I in team.
That's what they say, but there is a me.
It is true. That is true. Me.
You just got to scramble some of them letters.
Yeah, just a little word jumble. But
there's no we in team either.
No, there isn't. There should be. It'd be weem.
Oh, weem. Tweem.
Oh, another kind of story, and this is I want to say a little bit sad, but maybe not, because I was starting to do some more research, and I guess it's happened to a lot of other notable draft picks as well in this year and recent years. But son of Falcons coordinator Ulbrich admits to the Sanders prank. The son of the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich admitted to a prank phone call made to Shedeur Sanders during the NFL draft and apologized per an Instagram post Sunday. The NFL is looking into the situation, specifically how Sanders' private number was leaked. Sources tell ESPN's Adam Scheffler. I will say that I read this morning, this was an article from yesterday, I read this morning that they ended up they're not going to be doing any kind of punishment or anything like that for the defense coordinator and their son. And again, I think this has been kind of a thing that's happened.
Yeah, in the past, I'm sure that it's happened. And my only thing would be, I don't think that the kid should get punished at all for doing something like that, because that's just kids being kids.
Yeah.
It's how did he get that number, though? Because if dad gave him that number or for an assistant or something like that, then I think at that point you can make the case for something. But, I mean, at the end of the day, when you have a spot like Shedeur's got,
you got to expect some kind of stuff like that. I mean, because
I hate it for Shedeur.
Yeah,
too.
Of course,
I do.
It sucks. But at the same, when he gets out there on his first day of, if he goes to OTAs, I'm sure he will go to OTAs. But when he gets out there, I'd have my head. Well, I'm sure they're not going to let him hit quarterbacks day one, but the first time he's got live contact, he better keep his head on a swivel. No doubt. But everybody should really keep their head on a swivel in every facet of life.
That's going to be a tough battle, with 4 quarterbacks, the 5th being Deshaun Watson, but he's not going to be battling for anything because he's injured. So.
Yeah, that's true. So they got what? Flacco,
Dylan
Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. Who's the 4th?
I think it's is Pickett back with us too?
Yes,
oh, Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. Yep, that's right. Whew, that's a wild QB room right there. Like, just
it might be wilder than the Giants having.
Roll the dice. And
Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, and now Jackson Dart.
Yeah, no, that's Cleveland. Cleveland doing Cleveland things, I guess. Back-to-back picks, take 2 quarterbacks. I'm sure they would have liked to take something else. NFL draft picks by college team. The SEC to Big Ten dominate, as always, and Ohio State flirted with a draft pick record. Let's see how many we had here. Draft picks by schools and conferences. SEC had 79 draft picks. That led the way. Big Ten had 71 draft picks. That was second. ACC about 30 picks shy of the Big Ten with 42 total picks there. Big 12 had 31. Independents had 2. Mountain West 6. American 6. MAC 4. Big Sky, etc., etc. Sunbelt had 1 coming out of Marshall. And back to the top. Let's see. Which SEC school, David, had the most draft picks?
I would assume it'd be Georgia.
That is correct at 13. Who's number 2 with a close second at 12? This is the one where, it's interesting, to say the least, I guess.
Would it be Texas?
Yeah, absolutely. Texas had 12. Ole Miss 8, Alabama 7, LSU 7, Florida 7, South Carolina 5, Tennessee 4, Texas A&M, Auburn, Missouri all had 3. Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Arkansas had 2 each. Then Vanderbilt rounds out the last one with a single player drafted.
Better than 0.
Better than 0 indeed. I already gave you the answer to who led the Big Ten in
Ohio
draft
State.
Ohio State with 14 total.
Would number 2 be Oregon? Or would
Oregon, number 2 with 10. What about number 3?
Man, I'm stuck on this one. I'll go Penn State. Is it Michigan?
It is. It's Michigan.
Yeah. That was my initial guess. But
Michigan had a lot of defensive players in this draft. Michigan with 7, Maryland with 6, Penn State, UCLA, Iowa all with 5, USC with 3, Minnesota, Rutgers 3, also Nebraska, Indiana, Wisconsin all 2, Michigan State, Purdue, Illinois, and Washington all had 1. ACC, this is an easy one. Who led the ACC with number 1?
Clemson.
No, only 3 from the old Tigres. Do you?
Miami.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't know why I told you the answer. That was weird. I didn't even think I was going to do that. It just popped out. Anyway, Miami had 7 leading theirs. Virginia Tech with 5. Cal with 4, Syracuse 4, Clemson 3, Pitt 3, Boston College 3, SMU and Georgia Tech both 3, Louisville had 3, Florida State had 2, Virginia, North Carolina, NC State, and Stanford all had 1. Big 12, we had a 4-way tie at the top with 4 draft picks. That's Colorado, Iowa State, Arizona, and Oklahoma State. Kansas State with 3, TCU, UCF, Texas Tech, Kansas all with 2, Utah, West Virginia, Arizona State, and Cincinnati all with 1. Notre Dame is an independent, had 6 total draft picks in this draft, and that's all I'm going to leave you guys with there on the schools. I know we got a couple minutes. Anyway, I'm going to jump through the running backs real quick because that was one of the part of the draft that was a lot deeper than running backs, defensive tackles, a lot of those guys. I can't count that quickly.
A lot of edge rushers.
A lot of good edge rushers in this draft. Let's see. Number 1, we all know who that was. That went to the Oakland Raiders, and that was Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty. And I'm anxious to see how he's going to do in the NFL. Like, is his style of play and how good he was in his last year in college going to correlate to the NFL? I think running back, I hate to use the word easiest, but I think the college to NFL transition for a running back may be one of the more simpler ones, for lack of a better term.
I would say kicker, but...
Yeah, that's fair. Like your main players.
No.
You're still kicking through the uprights. They don't change. It's just the hash
changes. The hashes, because in college there's so much more. Why? Which I would say that actually...
You would think that's harder.
Without being a kicker, right. Yeah. Without knowing, being very ignorant of this, would be that it's that you would be in good shape, if the hash marks are lined up with the goalpost.
Yeah. Yeah, your angle to, especially as you get closer to the, just the mathematics that says that the angle's smaller. There's not as much room to go through the two uprights. But anyway, we'll talk about maybe some of those running backs a little bit later on. We got to take a quick break. We got to get Al Carl on the line. Anxious to talk to him. Caps had a big 5-2 victory yesterday. You're listening to the Inside Drive. Al Carl with your NHL update coming up next.
Keep the game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the Sports Talk and Live play-by-play have to end. Just say, hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida. From Michigan Avenue to the Man Cave, from the car to the kitchen, we've got you covered. Keep the game going. Hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Monday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, sunshine and a high of 81 with a gentle breeze at 10 miles per hour out of the south-southwest. For tonight, clear skies and a low near 70. Tomorrow, a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour, mostly sunny and a high around 81. For Wednesday, some sun and a high of 79. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
This is Patrick with Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control. Mole cricket season is here. Before these insects can do damage or even destroy your lawn, call Turf Pro Lawn and Pest Control. We will come out to your property to quickly and effectively stop lawn-destroying mole crickets so you don't have to make costly repairs. Look us up on Facebook at Turf Pro PC or call Turf Pro at 850-890-5820. 850-890-5820. Call the blue and yellow trucks. We'll make your lawn green.
Broadcasting from the Golf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. From the beach to the bay to the backyard, it's the Inside Drive.
I've got sand in my underpants.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't want to call it my favorite segment, but it's up near the top now because I love talking a little bit of hockey, especially this time of year with the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs going on. And that's our good friend of the show, Al Carl, the lead ice technician for the Washington Capitals. What's up, Al? How are you today?
Ryan, we're 3-1 right now. I'm doing a lot better than what I'd be if I was 2-2. So everything's going okay right now.
Absolutely. Or if you were down 1-3 like my poor New Jersey Devils. But it's kind of shaken out like I thought it was. We'll talk about that in a second. Referencing the Caps 5-2 victory yesterday. Kind of a close game. They go down 2-1. And then a huge check, which you just don't see these that much anymore in the NHL. But a beautiful hit by Wilson that seemed to kind of change that momentum in yesterday's game, and then the Caps went on to tie it up and then continue to pour it on and win 5-2 to go up 3-2 in the series. For those that don't know a lot about hockey, and when I tell people I love hockey and I used to play hockey, they're like, oh, I was watching a hockey game or a fight and a hockey game broke out. I was like, it's not that anymore. It used to be a lot more rough and tough in the mid-90s and stuff like that. But why does a big hit, a fight, something like that have such a big momentum change for the teams?
Well, the fun thing is there's a couple of references we can do here. The first one, I guess, was in the post-game press conference, they actually asked Tom Wilson what felt better, the hit itself or your boys all tapping you on the helmet when you got back to the bench.
Ooh,
and that's what it is. Yep. It's a motivational thing. Okay, Tom's in it to win it. That was a great hit. It just gets everybody up and gets everybody going. It's equivalent to a two-out double in the bottom of the eighth when you're trailing, or when you're, it's the fourth quarter, you hit a 30 long on your own 30. Now, it's not going to show up on the score sheet, and it doesn't make an impact right then and there, but it sets you up for the eventual score. So that's kind of how I equate to that and thinking about it. So, Tom did that hit, and then they just went right down and they scored. And then it took all the life out of the building. All you hear the last 2 games on the TNT broadcast is that the Canadiens crowd is lifting this team to new heights, and the Canadiens crowd is so loud, and this, that, and the other, and rightly so. And that hit followed by that goal just sucked all the air out of that building. And then, later on when Mangiapane scored the eventual game winner, and good for him because he's been playing amazing hockey, Mangiapane, and he's been borderline snake bitten. He should probably have about 3 or 4 goals this series, and that was his first. And I was happy to see that his hard work is paying off for him. But it's just an emotional thing with hockey. You get a big hit, it just gets you off your feet. Yeah. I got off my couch. My wife and I both jumped. My cats were sleeping. Maybe we startled them awake by accident. So, we even got caught up in it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's if you're not a hockey guy or watch hockey too much, you don't know what that. But that was a great analogy there, especially with the 2-out double play, 3rd and long. You get a pass. Your team now is all excited. They've got hope. And not that they were out of it by any stretch of the imagination, but at the time, the Canadiens were definitely outplaying the Caps, and that kind of shifted the ice, tilted the ice in a different direction. Last week we talked about back-to-back games and how tough that could be in the NHL world. I don't think there's actually been a back-to-back game yet. I think I was just looking at the thing wrong. But anyway, now you guys got a 2-day break between the game yesterday and your next game where you can close out the series at home is on Wednesday. What's the typical schedule look like for the team when it comes to a rare 2-day break in between? And I know the series is shifting back to the DMV area, so obviously that's a natural break. But what does it look like for these guys? Morning skates, hard practice, or are they kind of just taking it easy and preparing and resting for that Game 5?
Yeah, well, I would think, I don't know these for facts, but my assumption is that Washington flew home, the Capitals flew back down here post-game. They probably went to the practice facility today. There is always an optional skate. You always have a chance to get out there and do your thing if you need to. But I got a funny feeling the guys are just they're taking the day, just getting some treatment done, working on their bodies, and then they're just calling it a day, and then back to work tomorrow, and then on the game day Wednesday. Montreal is probably going to do it the exact opposite. They have an extra day home, which works out for them. They don't have to travel right away, so I'm assuming they're doing the same thing. They're gonna heal their bodies up today, maybe get a skate in before the plane trip down tomorrow, and then be ready for Wednesday. So. The thing with the extra day, I know all the series, they do kind of allot this. It's usually every other day, but then there is a small break mixed somewhere in there. I don't know if it's for actual rest purposes or for TV purposes or whatnot, but the extra day is beneficial for these teams. It's not, hockey, rest doesn't equal rust. Rest equals healing, and it's the same as football. The bye week in the playoffs in football, like a team, if you get that bye week, the rest helps, because your body just is the wear and tear, and if you don't have to play the extra minutes, then that's positive. Whereas, baseball, I don't get the bye weeks in baseball. You're just screwing up with somebody's timing. But in hockey, it helps.
Yeah, no doubt. Something kind of popped up in my head while you were talking about that one, and you kind of elaborated on it a little bit. But, obviously, all season long, these guys are getting beat up. Is pretty much everybody got some form of an injury during this when you're starting to get in these stretch of the playoffs?
I would think so. It's something, whether a bruise here or there. Everyone's, especially now, everyone's fighting for their lives, and it's an absolute war out there. Physical play aside, now you're diving down to block shots that maybe normally wouldn't block it in the regular season. You might pull a flamingo or skate away every once in a while, but now you're getting down and you're hoping it doesn't hurt too hard, hurt too much, or anything permanent. But everybody, I'm sure, has got lagging bruises.
Yeah, which
I don't think it would be hockey if it was anything different.
100%, which makes those trainers so very important for getting those guys as healthy as they can before each game. Obviously, being a hockey player is a very, very physical sport, but like you said, just like football. Now, football, they've had, an entire week between games to, not that makes it any better. I'm just saying they got a little more time to heal up. So these guys are usually, like I said, playing with some kind of injury, whatever it may be. Which series is most surprising that it's tied up 2-2? And we actually have 4 out of the 8 series are currently now tied 2-2. You got the Jets and the Blues, the Kings and the Oilers, the Knights and the Wild, and the Avs and the Stars. Which one's most surprising to you, or are you not surprised at all?
No, yeah, one of them surprises me, but I want let's take a look at this a little bit deeper. The 4 series that you just mentioned, they're all in the Western Conference, and in conversations that we've had prior on air when you've had me on, we talked about just how much of a powerhouse the Central Division is. So, if you look at 2 of the series, it's Central on Central. You have the Jets and the Blues. That's at 2-2, and then the Stars and the Avalanche, 2 of the best teams in the league, just happen to draw each other in the first round. That doesn't shock me at all that they're going back and forth. And then you got the Vegas Golden Knights. They won their division, and what's their reward? They get to play a Central Division team in Minnesota. That is no slouch at all. So the fact that those series are all 2-2 right now makes complete sense to me. I'm thinking 2 of those 3 will go 7. But the Oilers last night, that shocked me. Actually, that was the late game. I'm up early to be at the arena, and I kind of woke up in the middle of the night. I kind of rolled over. I saw that Edmonton was down 1 with 1:30 to go. I'm like, yeah, well, that's just unfortunately just how it's rolling right now. Los Angeles is a very, very good team, and Edmonton is just lacking something at the moment. But, man, I was wrong, and I woke up this morning with Edmonton tying it 30 seconds later and then Draisaitl winning it in overtime. So the goaltending change in Edmonton seems to be working out right now. They fought themselves right back into this. So, yeah, that one kind of shocked me.
Yeah, and I think I saw this briefly this morning on SportsCenter, but I believe that the Kings fans were chanting "We want Connor" when they were up either 2-0 or 3-1 in that game, and obviously that was a historic backfire as the Oilers, like you said, scored in the third and then won it scored 2 in the third and then won it in overtime on Leon Draisaitl's OT winner from the right side of the net. But perfect sense. You've been talking about how good the Western Conference is and how all these teams are so comparable, and the Blues whipping up on the Jets yesterday was a pretty interesting one as well. I didn't have 5-1 St. Louis over the Jets in that game yesterday, but to each his own. And like you said, the St. Louis Blues going into the playoffs have been on fire. So one of the hotter teams in the league, and sometimes that's all that matters when you get to the playoffs is how well you're playing right then and there, as long as you obviously make it to the playoffs. Devils Hurricanes. It's about going as we expected, unfortunately. Carolina has a chance now to close out the series tomorrow night at home. As much as I want the Devils to win, any chance they can extend the series, it kind of seems like it's been living and dying with Markstrom in net. When he plays real well, they have a chance. They only won 1 game in overtime, but last night giving up a goal in the first minute of the game is never good for your momentum.
Yeah, it's a shame with the Devils because, Jacob Markstrom was the final piece of the puzzle that they felt they were missing. And then all of a sudden the injury bug hit, and it hits every team. But with the Devils, it hit Jack and it hit Luke, the Hughes brothers, and I think there's like 2 other guys. And you can be as deep as you want. You're not replacing Jack and Luke Hughes. So it's just unfortunate that the Devils had all the pieces in place, and then it kind of fell apart. Not to their fault. At the last second. But they're giving him a fight. Nico Hischier has been playing absolutely amazing. It seems like he's the one that's doing all the scoring for him.
Yeah.
It seems like every time a notification pops up on my phone the Devils scored, it's him. So they're going to give him a fight. Now, whether or not they extend this to Game 6, there's always a chance.
Of course,
every game is different. But this is what the Carolina Hurricanes do, and I believe we talked about this. I saw the stat. I think they showed it during the game yesterday. I think the Hurricanes, this will be their 6th or 7th consecutive year of winning a playoff series, in the postseason. So they beat teams they're supposed to beat. I'm sure they've had home ice advantage in the majority of those seasons. And like I said, the last 2 years being with the Islanders, I know for a fact that, like I said, the Hurricanes, they snuck us twice. So this is just what Carolina does, and it's easier said than done. Beating the teams you're supposed to beat. That's not always the case in hockey. I say actually, ask the Winnipeg Jets. But they, the Carolina Hurricanes, they beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and they make quick work out of them too. Like I said, now we're doing the rest, not rust in hockey. If they can end this in 5, and the Capitals can end this in 5, and the Leafs, all the other teams, if they end it in 5, this extra rest is going to be more beneficial when they go to those 6 games and 7 game series later on down the road. So Carolina is doing what Carolina does.
Yeah, that's a great point, too, and always seems to pay off in the NHL playoffs is if you can end a series just a little bit early, you're going to have more time to rest those bodies up and get ready for that next series, which arguably is always going to be a little bit tougher. So, Ottawa last night staved off of elimination. Only 4 teams in NHL history have come back from 3-0 in the playoffs. Can the Senators become the 5th and keep the Leafs round 1 streak alive for 2 years, or will they win their first back-to-back seasons after a long playoff drought from 2004 to 2024?
Yeah, like I said, anything's possible, especially with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes, that's why I brought it up.
You see this coming a mile away, and it's like, oh, man. But, and then he said with Ottawa, we were watching the game the other night, and, it's gotten to overtime, and we were rooting for Ottawa. We want the series to extend. There's nothing against the Leafs.
Yeah.
No, but I got nothing against them. But, we like, Brady Tkachuk, just like everybody else in the country. He kind of won us over. And, we want to see a series out of it. We want to see a Game 5, Game 6. And to see in a team like Ottawa that's not been in the playoffs as recently, you want to see these new teams, make a fight out of this. But Toronto, maybe the Senators will get one more, and then maybe force a Game 6, But I think Toronto, I think the coaching change was good for them. Unfortunately, the Devils are paying for that mistake now.
Yeah.
But
we haven't found it. It seems like we haven't found a coach in a long time. At least anyone that stays around for a while.
Yeah, you had Lindy. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Leafs should close this out. But I guess the one thing that's working for Ottawa in their favor is that, A, they are playing the Leafs. This does happen to them. And 2, Claude Giroux is on their team. He's one of their leaders. He's one of their top guys, and he was on the team that last did that, the reverse sweep with the Flyers over the Bruins back, I think it was like 2010 or 2010. So when the Flyers made their cup run there. So the Flyers had to do that. Claude Giroux was a mainstay on that team then. He knows how to do it, and it's just one game at a time, one shift at a time. But Ottawa's really, really got to play hard, and it's a lot to do.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's why there's only been 4 teams in NHL history to come back from being down 3-0. One of the few leagues that's got multiple 0-3s. There's some leagues that no team's ever has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in that particular sport.
Yeah, I don't think it happens too often in basketball. Basketball, usually when you're up 3-0, you have, you're better. You can play as desperate as you want in basketball. If the other team's better, you're not going to win.
I think that's the one
baseball,
that has
I know the Red Sox fans remember a reverse sweep.
Yep, absolutely.
I remember they were playing at that point in time, but...
It's a series before the Yankees, if I'm not mistaken. I forget who
it was. 2004, I remember very vaguely.
There's a good documentary out on that one. Anyway, I want to ask you, too, your thoughts on the Panthers-Lightning series. My DJ Davey Crockett behind the glass, the guy who gave you a phone call today, he's a huge Lightning fan, and, they looked really good the other day, 5-1, and I was kind of surprised in that one over there in Sunrise, kind of taking care of business there, obviously after going down in the series at home. But what do you think about that series? You think that's going to be a Game 7 kind of fun series there?
That series had that series potential. Because, the 5-1, I believe the other 2 games were a little, I'm going to say, lopsided scoring as well. I think Florida threw up 5.
I think it was 5-2 in the first one. 5.
Yeah, you would think with Vasilevsky and Bobrovsky in net that this wouldn't happen. With those 2 goaltenders, all-world goaltenders, Vasilevsky, they just announced he's a Vezina finalist. Bobrovsky, you've seen what he's done the past couple of years in the playoffs. He's all-world. The Olympics next year, Team Russia has a problem on who they're going to play in net, to be honest with you. But that's a good problem to have. But you wouldn't think these high-scoring games would happen. You think every game would be like 2-1 in overtime or 3-1 with an empty netter or something, very, very close. So, I kind of feel this series... these games should tighten up eventually because, you got all world teams. You got these 2 teams who, they're the past 5 Eastern Conference champions, if not more, winning the whole thing, came out of these 2 teams. So, these 2 teams, they're playoff tested, and there's no reason, if you pick a series to go 7, I think this would be at the top of the list right off the bat. And, just shocking again is home ice advantage not a thing here right now. All 3 road teams.
Yeah, that's a rarity, no doubt, in hockey. So moving to those games coming up tonight, we got 2 games on the docket tonight. Those Tampa Bay Lightning have a chance to tie up the series 2-2, or Florida could take that 3-1 lead. What do you think about tonight? I know we were just talking about it, but what do you think? And then I'll ask you against the spread as well.
Yeah, so give me Tampa to tie this up. There's a 3-1 doesn't seem plausible to me. Especially Tampa's the road team. I guess it's their turn to to hold that serve, right? So they give me Tampa to tie it up.
Yep, I like it. Tampa's on Hard Rock is plus 125, so a little more than 1-1 on that one. Now, if you want to take them with the plus 1.5, that's minus 210. I would just take them straight up in this one. Now, you could take the Panthers minus 1.5. No, that's plus 160. But obviously, Vegas or whatever we call this, Hard Rock, the Seminole Indian tribe thinks that it's going to be a pretty close game, but Tampa is certainly going to come out on top. The other game, the Western Conference game, trying to break that 2-2 tie as the Colorado Avalanche at the Dallas Stars. It is in Dallas at American Airlines Arena. Same spread. Hockey spreads are always the same. 1.5 and the over-under 5.5. First up, who do you think is going to win straight up?
Yeah, straight up. I'll go with Colorado again. I'm going to stick with the road teams here. I think this is the other series. Give me these two series to go 7. So we'll have a little fun with the Colorado-Dallas series. We'll have the road teams win the next 2 games. So we'll give me Colorado tonight, then Dallas game 6 in Colorado. To set up, and that's going to be an intense game set. Both of these series, if they go 7,
awesome.
Those games are going to be fun to watch. But both these teams are just absolute studs. Again, Central Division. The way the playoff format is in hockey, it's unfortunate that these two teams have to play each other. But that's just the way it is, and it doesn't sound like it's changing anytime soon. So. There's a lot of bumps and bruises that are going to be coming out of whoever wins these games.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Al, we appreciate your time as always. Enjoy that Wednesday night game. Hopefully it's a clinching game for your Washington Capitals, and you'll be moving on to the next series.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Ryan. Appreciate it. Go Caps.
Yeah, there you go. Al Carl, the lead ice technician there with the Washington Capitals, joining us every Monday at 11:20 throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. When we get back, we're going to talk a little NBA playoffs. Be right back.
The next evolution in sports talk radio. We're back! On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Afternoon Underdog. The only live afternoon show in Panama City where you can win fantastic prizes from amazing local businesses every day.
That's right.
4 to 6 weekdays. The Afternoon Underdogs.
It's mayhem.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Dreaming of your perfect Florida home? Whether you're buying or selling, I'm here to make it easy. I'm Terry Callahan with Anchor Realty Florida, and I've helped many folks from first-time home buyers to retirees find success in the Bay County real estate market. I'd love to find just the right home and neighborhood to match your family's needs. Let's make your dream home on the Florida Panhandle a reality. Call or text me, Terry Callahan, at 850-919-5025.
Mid-South Lumber, where they treat you like family. Locally owned and serving the residents of Bay County for over 45 years. See Mid-South Lumber for all of your DIY projects, including windows, doors, siding, lumber, and millwork. Are you building a new home? Bring your contractor in to Mid-South Lumber and meet with a member of their sales team to discuss your framing, siding, windows, and doors. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City. 717 West 11th Street.
Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long off season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios, it's the Inside Drive. 4. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley.
This man is destroying golf. You may be right, but our ratings are up and we're attracting new youthful sponsors.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Got a game coming up tonight at Denver, or I was going to say at the Rockies at Colorado. Yeah, Braves, sorry.
I was like,
there's a lot of games coming on tonight, including your Atlanta Braves right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Coverage starts after the afternoon underdogs at 6:25, followed by first pitch at 7:40, taking on those Colorado Rockies. I believe the Braves are, 7-3 in their last 10?
Yeah, they're streaking.
They're getting a little bit close. I know they lost one, but then they won, 2, 3 more in a row there. So
yeah, and that's a tough division. I mean, not only are you playing a team from the National League West, which has 3 pretty daggum good teams right now, but you're also out there, out west. And so and one of those games, what was it, Saturday night? Tremendous comeback as well. So
that was awesome.
They are hitting their stride, and that's why you don't get too worried about what happens in those first 7 games, and then it doesn't look like it's going well after that.
Yeah, you got to win eventually in baseball.
They've started to get they've started to find the long ball again, and the pitching rotation still got some kinks to work out, but we're getting some good outings from some of these guys right now.
Absolutely. Again, that coverage starts at 6:25, followed by first pitch at 7:40. We'll run that back again tomorrow night, same time, same place, same station, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. All right, let's dive into some NBA action, some recapping, as we got some series that are already in the books. Not too surprising. We'll start with the Saturday games. The first one, you had the Cavs and the Heat. Cavs never looked back in that one, just absolutely dominated the Heat. Now have a 3-0 series lead, 124-87. That was down there in South Florida as well. So the Cavs taking that show on the road and looking pretty darn good. One series that is already in the books. That is the OKC Thunder and the Memphis Grizzlies. Not surprising there, as the Thunder have been
not at all
one of the best teams in the league all season long. But it was a little fight there in the fourth quarter. Ended up winning that one 117-115 to close out that series 4-0. They'll await their next round opponent. And then an exciting end to the Saturday game in the Clippers-Nuggets series, if you don't have a dog in the fight. The series is now tied 2-2, but it was basically a buzzer-beater dunk. Jokic threw up, I don't know if it was an air ball or not.
It was an air ball. He said it in the press conference because Aaron Gordon had said, nice pass. That was a nice pass. And then they asked Jokic, was that a pass? And he was like, no.
Well, it worked out great because Aaron Gordon just flushed that thing literally milliseconds before the timer expired and gave the Nuggets a 101-99 victory over the Los Angeles Clippers. The last game on Saturday was the Warriors and the Rockets. Classic Steph Curry playoff game in that one. 36 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, and a 104-93 victory over those Houston Rockets. They now lead the series 2-1. Those are your
That's been a wild series right there.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch. I mean, both these playoffs are just so much fun to watch. Knicks, I watched the end of that game yesterday, as it was the early game, and we had to come home early, unfortunately. But Knicks ended up, kind of with a little controversial no call there at the end of the game, but hey, that's what playoff basketball is all about. Won that one 94-93. I'm going to skip over the Lakers and Timberwolves because I got a little more stuff on that. So now that game is New York leads Detroit 3-1 in that series, and they'll be heading back home with a chance to close that one out. Celtics and the Magic. I got to stop betting the Magic or the Celtics to cover because it kept.
They did cover last night though.
Last night?
Yeah, because they were.
I didn't bet them last night. Wait, no, I think I did actually. I think I had a win this morning. But anyway,
Magic was +7.
Yes. Previously, I had a parlay with the Magic the Celtics -10. That was a couple games ago. I think it was last week. But anyway, Celtics hung on to win by 9 in that one, 107-98. They now take a 3-1 series lead back to Boston. And then David Hayes' Indiana Pacers whooped up on those Bucks again, 129-103.
You hate it for Dame Lillard, though.
Yeah, tore his. They think he tore his Achilles tendon. I don't think it's been confirmed yet, but that's what they're speculating. Going back to the Lakers-Timberwolves game, kind of a wild game in that one if you had the chance to watch it. Pretty interesting stuff that came out of this game. Obviously, the Lakers are a lot older than the team they're playing, so interesting to see that in that game they didn't sub out once in the second half. The same 5 guys played all, 12-minute quarter, so all 24 minutes of that game. In the 4 games, the Wolves have outscored the Lakers in the fourth quarter by 36 points. Los Angeles Lakers are only averaging 17 points per game in that particular quarter, just the fourth quarter, with a comically bad clutch time rating. In Game 4 on Sunday, they led by 10 after 3 quarters, by 9 with 10 minutes and 17 seconds to go, 7 minutes with 5:07 were up by 7 with 5:06 left, and they were up by 2 with $1:29 left, and ended up losing by 3. And they had a shot. Austin Reeves had a 3 in the corner, and it just didn't go. But I don't want to say controversial, but the review, I guess, now that happens, and it looked like it was going to be Lakers ball, and then they saw where LeBron had hit Ant-Man's hand, and it actually was a foul. So then he shot, tied it. At that point, I think they went up by 1, and then went down again and scored another basket, and were up by 3. And
yeah, they was getting spicy last night. Rudy Gobert on LeBron, and then Ant just like being the pest that you should be. Now, I'm still not going to sit here and count LeBron and the Lakers out, but I will say that it is kind of fun to see him down 3-1 like this. And I think the other thing that we can say is that the only thing that would make this better is if Dallas was still in the playoffs and making it to the second round.
Yep, that would. I'm sure all the Dallas. Well, they seem to have been following with Luka, but I'm sure Nico and those guys are like, I really hope the Lakers lose this series. But Ant-Man went for 43 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. LeBron was the leading scorer on the Lakers with 27, 12, and 8. A lot of back and forth at the end.
Didn't Luka have like 38 last night though?
Let's see. ESPN says that LeBron was his top performer. Yeah, that's not correct because
Well, I think that just means like overall.
Total stats. Yeah, he had nine rebounds, or excuse me, 12 rebounds, 8 assists.
Well, I don't know. That just sounds like a better overall game to me.
Absolutely, yeah. Luka went for 38, but only had 1 rebound and 2 assists.
Yeah.
And I did watch a lot of the end of that game, and it was a lot of just Luka with the ball, not really moving around a whole lot, trying to make plays. And sometimes he did, sometimes he did. But yes, that series is now 3-1. Do you think the age of the Lakers is catching up with them a little bit?
Well, I think that it's a little bit of age, but again, I mean they at least they had some younger talent, right? Especially in what they had drafted. I think the bigger issue is that they've went so offensively focused, and for 82 games out of the season that works out. But then once you get to this point of the year, and LeBron, yes, is getting older, so his defensive prowess isn't the same as his tenure in Cleveland. And then with Luka, he's just never been that much of can he play defense?
Yeah.
Yes, that's not the question. Does he play defense well, consistently? No, not necessarily.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, if you're not willing to give guys at least a couple minutes off the court, that's right. What's more surprising is not subbing anybody out in those entire. And I get it, you're trying to score, but you got to play a little defense too. And defenses, you got to get back. You got to be able to run up and down the court. Real quick before we hit our top of the hour break, like I said, a couple other guys got some prank calls during the NFL draft, including Kyle McCord and tight end Tyler Warren.
Was it all the same person calling them? Do we know that at all?
We'll find out here. We'll find out. Philadelphia Eagles draft pick Kyle McCord, he said he's received several prank calls before finally being drafted in the 6th round. I got a few prank calls early in the day from 609 and 215 numbers, he told reporters. I'm like, all right, when I get that 215 call, I was thinking it was just another prank call, but picking up the phone and having Howie Roseman on the other side was pretty cool. The prank calls like those McCord received were an unfortunate trend during this year's draft. Sanders, who was eventually drafted by the Cleveland Browns in the 5th round, received a prank call as he was waiting to be selected, and this moment, unfortunately, was caught on camera. In Sanders' case, the prank caller turned out to be, we already talked about that. I want to get to the Tyler Warren one. Let's see. Where's Tyler Warren? Maybe it's just that.
So that was on night 1 then, Tyler Warren, right? Because he got drafted in the 1st round later on, right?
Yes, he did. It doesn't go into detail on Tyler Warren stuff, so that's a little disappointing. But anyway, so apparently they weren't just picking on Shedeur. Obviously, that one had the biggest impact because he kept falling and eventually got drafted. I believe Deion Sanders had tweeted out months, maybe weeks before, I don't know when it was, that he said that his son wasn't going to go to the Cleveland Browns, and he did end up there going to Cleveland.
It's normally how it works out. You say you're not going to do something, and that's what you end up doing.
Yep. It kind of puts it in the path, and it all comes to fruition. Do you think there's any chance that he gets cut and then signs with another team? Because the Browns have 4 technically in their room with Deshaun Watson.
I mean, I think I would still take Shedeur Sanders over Kenny Pickett, outside of Kenny Pickett having a little bit more NFL experience.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco.
He's got to be your third guy in case of emergency.
I mean, to me, when it comes to Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, or Joe Flacco, who am I trotting out there?
Joe Flacco.
Well, whoever has the best, off season, who's showing the best in practice, and then obviously the preseason, you're going to see a lot of Shedeur and a lot of Dylan Gabriel, and Kenny Pickett. So I think I would go with whoever's impressing me the most, knowing that as soon as we start, sliding a little bit, and we think that we have an opportunity, defensively speaking, for the playoffs, then I'm going right to Joe Flacco.
Yeah, he's got the history. He's been there. He's done it. I mean, it was only last year he was with a different team, and the year before he was with the Browns.
He was with the Colts.
That's right.
Year.
And he even saw some action with the Colts as well. So, yeah, seasoned guy, that's for sure. But, yeah, getting back to the running backs, Ashton Jeanty was taken first. Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina, a lot of people thought he would go pretty high up, and he ended up going in the first round. So he went to the Chargers, which I think is a great landing spot for him and Jim Harbaugh and all those guys.
And he's behind Najee Harris. Or with Najee Harris.
Yeah. I mean, Omarion Hampton, kind of, I don't want to say not as known name by, just the onlook, the 20,000.
He would have been if Bill Belichick was there.
Heck yeah. He was the 2 running backs went in the first round, 2 quarterbacks went in the first round. In the second round with the 4th pick, Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State, used to be with Ole Miss, went to the Cleveland Browns as well. And then Travion Henderson out of Ohio State went to New England Patriots. R.J. Harvey out of UCF also went in the second round to the Denver Broncos. And then jumping to the third round, you had one go in the third round. That was running back Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. He went to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then in the 4th round, this was one of the traded picks there that the Jags did when they moved up to take Travis Hunter. I need to ask you about that, but we're going to run out of time before I can ask you about that. Bayshaw, I think I got that right. Bayshaw Tootin out of Virginia Tech. Alan Sandage had talked to us about him a couple of weeks, maybe months ago. He ended up going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then Cam Skattebo went to the New York Giants out of Arizona State.
It seems like the Giants fans are really happy with their draft. I mean, Skattebo, Abdul Carter, They got some decent names up there, so we'll see how it plays out for them.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of high draft grades there for those New York Football Giants, and obviously Travis Hunter is in Duval. It's kind of cool to see who announced his pick. It was Eric Armstead. Armstead.
Yeah.
He announced with the Duval. So that was kind of cool to see that all transpire. But we got to go ahead and take a quick break. We're looking at the Afternoon Delight debrief coming back when we get back from this break. You listen to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida, available on all your devices.
Connected.
Hear your favorite sports talk hosts.
The Coach James Hale Show.
You're listening to the Inside Drive live.
The Afternoon Underdog.
And your favorite teams.
Braves winning!
We're live on the app. Tune in, Alexa, ESPNPC.com, Facebook, YouTube, and in your car at 101.9 and 104.3. Wherever you go, there we are. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Monday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, sunshine and a high of 81 with a gentle breeze at 10 miles per hour out of the south-southwest. For tonight, clear skies and a low near 70. Tomorrow, a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour, mostly sunny and a high around 81. For Wednesday, some sun and a high of 79. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Smothers at 784-6601. 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
Blue Jazz 96 Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios.
Sky rockets in flight.
And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City Beach, all of Bay County and beyond. 101.9 down there in Port St. Joe along that beautiful Forgotten Coast. You can watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share. That is Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Social media, search us up, ESPN Northwest Florida. Do us a favor, share the show if you could. It's just a couple quick buttons, and you're just getting our name out there a little bit more. It helps us, show our sponsors what we're all about. It helps us maybe find some new sponsors. If anybody's out there wanting to sign up for some advertising, please reach out to me, Facebook, phone number, whatever it may be. We appreciate I got a lot of new businesses coming in here to Bay County, a lot of them opening up here pretty darn soon, so trying to jump on some of those, and any help you could provide would be absolutely fantastic. Sit inside the Golf Plus studio. Coming up in the next segment, we'll be joined by Alan Watson. He's the owner-operator of Golf Plus PCB and Dothan. Two great locations, one right here in Panama City Beach in the Edgewater Shopping Plaza, right next to Firefly, and of course up there in Dothan for a long time off of 231 a.k.a. Montgomery Highway, serving two great locations for many, many years. And appreciate Alan Watson sponsoring the studio here on the Inside Drive. All right, I got
Did I tell you about what Alan did Thursday?
Mm-mm.
So he was in the studio with us, and he said, how sure are you guys that the Titans are going to be taking Cam Ward? And I was like, well, the draft odds are like minus 2,000.
I think it was minus 20.
Okay, minus 20,000. I didn't even, you look at minus 2,000, it's like, ain't no reason to even mess around with that.
Nope.
So I was like, I'm pretty sure we're taking it. He said, I'll make you a bet then. If the Titans draft Cam Ward #1 overall, I'll take you to his first home game. So
dang,
yeah. So that was like what do you call that? A risk-free.
Yeah,
I was like, well, I'll let you know as soon as they take them. Which it was wild too when they get on the clock and you're always like, come on, if we know who we're taking.
They were,
But they did have a couple of calls to field and whatnot. But took them about 5-6 minutes or so.
Yeah, it was actually felt like it wasn't that long, which was nice.
Felt like to me forever.
yeah. Well, you're like, are they going to take him?
Trade.
Yeah, that was the possibility.
Now,
for sure.
I'm 100% on board with the pick, and let's go with it, man.
Yeah,
we'll see how it works out.
Absolutely.
I mean, we got Tyler Lockett. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's right. He's the best in the league, some may say. Actually,
top 3 receiver according to Cam Ward on Twitch.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to support his guys, so it makes sense. Oh, on Twitch. Did you see it on Twitch?
No, I didn't see it. I saw the video, but before he was even drafted, people were asking him, who's your top 5 coaches in the league? Brian Callahan. Who's the top wide receivers? Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, and Traylon Burks.
Nice.
And then who's the top 4 running backs in the league? I'd say Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears.
He's got his teammates down pretty pat there.
Yeah, he knew what was going on, man, and he knows how to play the game. And from what I've heard over there, from his time from the start in Miami, he's a heck of a leader. So that's all you can ask for.
That's what you need. Yep.
And we'll see how it plays out.
Absolutely. I mean, I think he all had a good draft, too. So, maybe moving in the right direction here in the second half of the decade for the Tennessee Titans. But anyway, I think I covered everything that I needed to talk about and then dive into some afternoon delight debriefs. We'll start with this one. Title of this particular article, 82-year-old attacked from behind by a bobcat while turkey hunting. There's obviously a video that he did as well, but I'll just give you the text for the context. This is out of WAFF 48 over there in, I believe, Huntsville, Alabama. It's not where it happened, but it's just where the news came out of. An Alabama man survived being attacked by a bobcat while hunting turkeys. Claude Strother has been hunting turkeys since 1975. So being attacked by a bobcat was something he never saw coming, both literally and metaphorically. Just a fluke deal, he said. The 82-year-old recently went viral after sharing the story of his encounter on social media. I always sit by a big tree, he said. This time, I didn't. I sat by two little trees about as big as your arms, about 18 inches apart. I'm the die-hard turkey hunter from Selma was calling up a big one on his land in Wilcox County when he said something hit him from behind. I set the perfect storm for it, he said. There I was, perfectly camouflaged in a gap. All he could see was my head, and all of a sudden I was knocked over and turned and reached back. I assumed someone had hit me with a baseball bat. It was that hard. It dazed me, but nothing was there. I looked back around, and the bobcat was trotting down the road. It could have been a lot worse. Fortunately for Strother, the bobcat had been just missed clawing his eyes. Strother said it did bite him on the back of the head, however. Strother took selfies to show his family right after the attack happened. That is so, for an 82-year-old guy, that is so 2025. Guy gets attacked by a bobcat, first thing he does, take some selfies. In his nearly 50 years in the woods, this was...
I wonder how long it took him to take those selfies.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there's some pretty bloody selfies. He thought I was a turkey. My yelping was real good, Strother said. I assumed I was a turkey with a wide head. He assumed I was a turkey with a wide head, I guess, so he tried it. I don't blame at all. Have no grudge against that bobcat. I wouldn't have shot him if he let me. While Strother, his wife, and their daughter are now laughing about the bizarre occurrence, Strother did take it seriously at the time and went to the doctor to get checked out. His daughter, Deanne McGilbury, shared his story on Facebook. My dad has so many unbelievable true stories, but it's not that surprising, she said. McGilbury said her father has a tough time battling cancer, and reading the thousands of comments has helped him take his mind off it. I keep books. I got every hunt I've been on since 75. Every one, Strother said. Whether I kill a turkey or not, she said the Facebook comments looks like he got a good ending, a good last chapter in his book. So I don't think I'm not going to make it. I've got other problems. I may not, but hopefully I will. Nothing, not even a bobcat or battle with cancer, going to keep Strother out of the woods. The next morning I went to the same spot, he said. Strother said he's killed 247 turkeys in the past 50 years. He's hunted in 18 states, including Mexico. And that's another country, not a state. He said Alabama turkeys are the most challenging to hunt. Do you know that Alabama turkeys are the most challenging to hunt?
I've never hunted turkey, period, before.
Me neither. I've just hunted it in the grocery store.
Yes, I have hunted for it.
And I usually find it. But,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess...
I've always wanted to do that, though, like go get a turkey.
Yeah.
Like, not go get a turkey from the store. Go kill a turkey, essentially, and then have that for Thanksgiving.
I'm sure there's some people around here that can make that happen for you.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. But it's just right around that time where I'm not going to go early on a Saturday morning on rivalry weekend or the weekend before, and maybe the weekend before rivalry weekend. No, hunting season and football season, that's a
they
hard
coincide.
Yeah, and it's a hard one for me to pick hunting over football.
Yeah.
Now, if the times get to changing, I don't think I'll be too worried about football.
I think you'll be just fine, both in college and pros.
I'm just saying, if it comes to a point in life where we have to be more self-sufficient again, and then at that point, I'm not going to be worried about distractions. Wait, I'm going to have to be taking care of ways to eat.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. This next one still has to do with animals, but also not something you'd want to have happen to you. This is from Fox 8 out of Henrico County, Virginia. WRIC provides this story. Title of this story, Snake Falls into Margarita at Virginia Restaurant. Woman says she's traumatized. Let's dive into this one. It's a story you have to see to believe, one Virginia woman says. She's traumatized after a snake fell from the ceiling of a Mexican restaurant in Henrico County and into her margarita. Coletta Andrews said it happened at the Patron Mexican restaurant and cantina in Sandstone in the evening of April 16th. In an exclusive interview with 8 News anchor Autumn Childress, Andrews shared that she and her husband had just finished their food when something fell onto her forehead. I leaned in to take a sip and noticed something hit me in the forehead, and I looked at my husband like, "What was that?" Andrews said. When I turned around, I saw the snake in my margarita. At first, when I was looking at the story, I was like, is this just the worm out of the tequila bottle?
Right.
But it is not. It was moving. It started wrapping around my straw, she said. The rest of it's sort of a blur for Andrews. She recalls the restaurant workers trying to remove the baby snake with a stick, but she said another customer grabbed it and released it outside. I kept saying, please don't let it go in my purse, she said. I left shaking and I was traumatized. Andrews said the restaurant offered to move her booth, but she just wanted to leave quickly. Still in shock, she posted the photo of the snake and recounted what happened on social media, and the comments ranged from shock to disbelief to even some denial. One commenter wrote, the way my soul would have left my body that quickly. Another person wrote, girl, they would have been taking me to the king. Okay, taking me to the king. Got it. Andrew said she and others surprised she handled the situation so well, but that she still wants answers. News 8 reached out to the owner of the restaurant, who said he was aware of the situation. He said the snake likely got into the restaurant through the air conditioning unit. Childress asked what precautions were now in place to prevent this happening to another customer, which he said, nothing. News 8 also reached out to the Virginia Department of Health to access previous inspections. Records show inspectors found various violations during a routine inspection in December of 2024. We'll never eat at this restaurant, so it's okay, including mold, broken handles, missing ceiling tile in the dish room, cracked floor tiles throughout the kitchen, and leaky ceiling tiles. Records show these violations were corrected during the follow-up inspection 6 days later. Andrew said precautions or not, she hopes something can be done to prevent another person from leaving scared. If that was the baby, I fear is the mom there. Dum, dum, dum.
I'd imagine so.
That's not snakes on a plane. That's snakes in the ceiling.
The snakes in the ceiling.
Falling out.
They can be anywhere, especially this time of the year.
Oh, especially down here in Florida, they can literally don't leave your doors open for too long.
That's why we need Komodo dragons and let them just
bunch of mongoose running around. Yeah, Ricky Tikki Timbo, no Sorembo. I think that's what it was, right? Anyway, so a little snake falling into a margarita story. We reported on this particular story not too long ago, but if you remember, the Valerie, the missing wiener dog, has officially been captured over there on Kangaroo Island after being lost for 529 days. I think when we talked about it was like 300 some odd days she'd been missing on Kangaroo Island. She's back. So no need to worry. She is back and safe and sound back at home. So it's cool.
Valerie, we're proud of you.
Valerie hung in there with all those roos. That's kind of like your dream, being trapped on Kangaroo Island.
No, I don't think so. I don't like the one kangaroo at a time.
Yeah, not the entire. Well, I don't know how many.
They just start jumping. You're like, oh yeah,
literally. Yeah,
you really love kangaroos, huh?
Yeah, make some kangaroo burgers while you're there. A groundbreaking study by researchers at the University of Copenhagen found that all humans with blue eyes can trace their ancestry back to a single individual who lived between 6,000 and 10,000 years ago. This genetic mutation occurred as the OCA2 gene, which controls the melanin production in the iris. The discovery was led by Dr. Hans Eiberg, who have found this specific genetic switch doesn't remove eye color entirely, but dilutes the brown to blue. The same mutation has been found in every person with blue eyes studied to date, suggests they all inherited it from one common ancestor. Interesting. So if you're all, does that mean all blue-eyed people are all related?
Say that again?
Does that mean all blue-eyed people are all technically related if it dates back to one single ancestor?
Well, I guess technically, if you want to get that technical about it, we're all related.
That's true. That's true.
Brown eyes, hazel eyes, green eyes, blue eyes, black skin, white skin, olive-colored skin.
Yeah. Olive-colored skin, they get to go out there and tan. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a little red this weekend out there at the turf fields. All right, I'm going to pull up odd news because there's a bunch in that one. I almost coughed when I did that. Anyway, all right. Nope, not on this day. I never use that. Do you guys ever do on this day?
Yeah, mostly during this time of the year, during the off season.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff in there, especially when you have guys like Brian Haddad and Steve Barnes on the line.
Everything.
Or people call in like Lynnhaven Rob and they give you kind of the backstory and what it was like to actually be there, so... I like on this day stuff. I mean, Dan Patrick and them do it every day.
Yeah, on this day, every day. The first story on Odd News was the snake story. This next one, Uruguay's man's eye-popping trick earns him a world record. A Uruguay man living in Italy found himself with the Guinness World Records title thanks to an unusual party trick, popping his eyes out of the socket. Literally. William Martin Sanchez Lopez, who is from Montevideo, Uruguay, and currently lives in Milan, Italy, said he learned when he was about 8 or 9 years old that he was able to relax the muscles around his eyes and cause his eyeballs to pop out like a cartoon character. It all started when I was a kid, he told Guinness World Records. I could basically move my upper and lower part of my muscles around my eyes, and over time, I perfected my skill. At last, I was able to move the eye completely out of the socket. Lopez's doctor performed official measurements and found he could pop his eyes. Speaking of popping his eyes out of the socket, this guy right here, Coach James Hale, how are you? Sit down for a second.
Hi, I'm here for you and David. Whatever I can do to help, I'm here for about 2 seconds.
1, 2.
Bye. Well, good morning. Or afternoon.
Good afternoon, Coach.
I mean, it's not very often I get to sit with two handsome guys like you. I got those old, ugly guys that work with me, but David, you're looking better and better every day.
Man, I tell you what, thank you. I'm trying to catch up to you.
I want to brag on you.
Okay.
That afternoon show, I don't get to listen to a whole lot, but when I do, you knock it out of the sight. You're incredible. He can do it all.
I know. He's a jack of all trades.
Blowing smoke out the old chimney there,
no,
Coach.
I'm being honest.
I don't listen very much, but I know it's good.
And my replacement for me, he left and did the noon show. So I always said Brian would take over if I had any say-so in it.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I don't know if those are massive shoes to fill.
You know, I understand that,
and I just that's
is that like following Saban?
It might be larger. Yeah,
it's
might be tougher.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
No, I was just talking about a guy who can pop his eyes out of his head.
I thought you were going to play golf today, so I said. Then I saw you on Facebook in here. I said, "Well, I want to drop those things off."
Thank you.
Yeah, you doing okay?
Yeah, hanging in there.
What are y'all talking about?
We do this every noon. We talk about random stupid stuff.
Oh well, hell, I fit right in here with this.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Well, I want to know what you guys think about saying seriously. You're true, not. I don't care if you're political or not, but what did you really think about Sanders? Saban said, never give him a butt. A great player, but. Nice guy, but. And they train you at Alabama what to say, how to go through a process to get drafted, the interview process. All those players go through that. They know how to act. They're drilled on what they're going to be asked and how to respond. And I think they dropped the ball on that. I think Deion and them, I think that's the negative thing. They dropped the ball on how you interact with the interview with different coaches and GMs and stuff. I think that's a big part of it. What'd you think? Too high, too low?
I think where he went was more beneficial for him, not necessarily Cleveland, but the fact that now he's got a chip on his shoulder because since his college days, and I don't even, maybe in high school, but Deion's been coaching him, and so, he kind of is sheltered to an extent. Then he gets paraded around like he is most definitely a top pick, and I think that that's a hard thing for some organizations to take on is, all right, well, as soon as we tick you off, now your dad's going to be mad, and your dad holds a lot of weight in the football community as it is. Maybe Deion has already burned some bridges in the past that didn't sit well with some of the organizations as well. I don't know anything about that, but I'll say that for where Shedeur landed, I think it worked out for him, and now he's got an opportunity to fight for something and be able to prove all of, was it true or is it nonsense that the great player but attitude, whatever it may be, trying to, thinking that he's better than everyone. If that's the case, he's going to have to sort all of those things out. But he's young. He's got plenty of time to get that done.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brian. I'm sorry if I...
No. I mean, we talked a little bit about it in the first segment, but I mean, if the interviews, if the leaks that you're hearing, if the quotes that these anonymous people that were in the room are true, I mean, you can understand why he fell so far then. If they're not, then... they're just believing rumors, but like David said, I mean, he's on a team now that has technically five quarterbacks on the roster. Now one's not going to be playing. Deshaun Watson's hurt.
Did you watch him? I mean, really and truly watch him like you would watch an Auburn quarterback? I watched him. I think he's good, but I don't think he's elite at all. I don't. I think he's a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, is he serviceable? We'll see. Does he have the arm strength to make those, you know, sideline throws from tight hashes? I don't know. We'll find out. But first, he's got to even, you know, make the team. So I was telling David before, I mean, I could see a scenario where, like, he went to the Browns, but he gets cut and then signs with somebody else that he may want to sign with. But, again, this is all speculation. We won't really see anything until he gets out there on the field. But like I was telling David earlier, when he first is in live contact, he better keep his head on a swivel because there's a lot of guys that are going to be looking for him.
Now, you got my future star quarterback. You got him lined up. I mean, he knows how to handle interviews.
Yeah.
I've been watching tape of him.
Yeah.
Looking good, man.
He's getting there.
Is he playing? I saw something on Beth had posted, too. Was it a basketball game?
Yeah, he's playing a little bit of travel ball, too.
Is that started already?
Basketball is kind of all year round.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's doing a little bit of both, but loves them both.
He is a great athlete.
Yeah.
He truly is. Your dad's tall. You're tall. What about Beth's side of the family?
You already know that answer.
Are they tall? No. Okay.
But I mean, he's got time. He's got time to pop. And he loves lifting stuff.
He could be a Johnny Manziel.
Manziel.
Yeah, he can be a little short guy.
Yeah, get kicked out of the NFL in
I'd get him. It's like Dave. Yeah, you need to get him playing golf.
He loves playing golf, but he's just his temperament is not good for the game of golf. Because he wants to hit it perfectly every time, and that affects him in other sports too.
Where are you playing tomorrow? Somebody said.
So I have an opportunity through the Panama City Beach Chamber. They're doing a media event over there at the new golf course over there.
Only certain people get invited to that.
Hey, when you're fancy, you're fancy.
I am the chairman of the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce, so I should get invited, right?
What time is this segment over?
Now, actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
dang.
It'd be nice if you come out and hang out with me on the show one time. It'd be fun.
I love it, man.
It'd be fun.
I saw when you said, you notice when you say, I need help, you never see anybody respond from
Beth said to me, if Max wasn't going to fill in for me tomorrow, she's like, you should ask Coach to fill in, as I used to fill in for him all the time.
Just go back to back.
Yeah, just do the same
shit.
I've
been gone.
Yeah, you was in Pigeon Forge, right?
Yeah, Layton the Patronos had their singing competition up there. They did great. We went up a couple days early, had a wonderful time. They were busting my butt. You know what? I'm 68 years old. I've worked for all those years, and you're not going to get time back. I want to go do 100%. Travel and do something. I want to do it, and then you need to go do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Nah, we got to take a break. We got Alan Watson from Golf Plus coming up next.
The new app from ESPN Northwest Florida has up-to-the-minute sports news, interaction with local hosts in real time, easy download and no credit check, live streaming, real-time traffic and programming schedules.
Here's how to order.
Download our free app from the Apple Store and Google Play. Then lock it in and rip the knob off. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Monday. Sunshine the rest of the day with a gentle breeze out of the south-southwest around 10 miles per hour and look for it to be 81. Tonight, there will be clear skies with the temperature reaching 70 and a light breeze. Mostly sunny tomorrow with a wind around 9 miles per hour and a high of 81. Wednesday will have a high of 79 and mostly sunshine. This weather is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Discover Kia at Bill Bird Kia. The road is yours. Let spring adventures begin in a brand new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Stop by today and check out the 2025 SUV family. Take a test drive and see the all-new features that elevate any adventure. And now offering 1.9% APR for up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at Bill Bird Kia, PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust at Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage, $1,748 per month per 1,000 financed in 60 months. Qualities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. Not available on balloon financing. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 4/30/25.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. 4. Don't mind me. I'm just playing through. Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local, ESPN Northwest Florida.
welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Not often does a legend walk right into your studio and sit down for a few minutes and ask. It felt like the old days when he used to ask me questions, on Fridays for a long, long time. It was a good time. But we appreciate our studio sponsor. That is Alan Watson and the Golf Plus PCB and Dothan. I just got a text message. If I do not pay this toll violation, I will be in a lot of trouble. From a +63 phone number. I was over there in Europe just busting through tolls. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
In Europe?
Yeah, a +63 number. I mean, that's from overseas, obviously. So
does it say SunPass or just toll violation?
Toll violation notice. I've seen the SunPass ones as well. That's a little more targeted. But anyway, we've got Alan Watson on the line. We appreciate him sponsoring the Inside Drive here. Alan, how are you doing on this beautiful Monday?
I'm good. It is beautiful. It'd be nice if the breeze would blow a little bit because it's pretty warm out there. But it is beautiful. Nice day in Bay County, so not going to complain too much.
Absolutely. We were just too cold not that long ago, although our spring has so far seemed to be very, very short. But the quicker we get to summer, the quicker this pollen can go down, and maybe we're not so allergy-driven. Anyway, let's dive right into it. I wanted to get your opinion. Obviously, this tournament last week, the Zurich Classic, not a big-time tournament. It is one of the only team tournament on the actual PGA Tour schedule. How do you feel about, team tournaments versus the individual tournaments? I know there's only one, but just curious on your thoughts on that.
I think it's neat, but I wish they would do it with the LPGA. I wish that it would be PGA and LPGA teams so they can cross-pollinate the LPGA Tour and show people how great the girls' golf is and expose the fans to that. How cool would it be? It's nice to see Rory McIlroy out there with Shane Lowry, but how cool would it be to see Rory playing with Nelly Korda? So that's what I want to see. I want to see LPGA, PGA team events, and I just think that would be better for the fans, better for exposure crossing lines. There was a lot of guys on this leaderboard this week that are just not bigger name guys, of course, and that's fine. But the fans go out and they're following dudes around and they're like, I don't even know who this guy is. So I just think we should do something a little different. Leave this event fine, whatever, but give us an LPGA, PGA crossover event in Nashville or Memphis or somewhere in the middle of the country at some point during the year, and let's see what that does for the sport.
Yeah, that may be down the road. I don't know if you saw. It was probably 2, 3, 4 weeks. Actually, no, it was back in April 16th. They're adding a mixed team golf event that'll debut in the 2028 Summer Olympics over there in Los Angeles. That'll feature one male and one female player. They'll also play their individual competitions as well, but they'll play a 36-hole split event with foursomes and four balls between a man and a woman. I thought that was pretty cool and maybe a step in the right direction. I know they used to do that tournament in the wintertime where it was like LPGA, PGA, Senior Tour. I forget what that was called, but I don't even know if they still...
I think Wendy's sponsored that one or something. Yeah. It was like some sort of but that was more of like a charity event.
Yeah. It didn't really count.
It was more made for TV than it was real competition. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's been something that we've talked about on the afternoon show numerous times in the past about how I want to see the LPGA get more exposure. For these golf fans. But anyway, whatever. I digress.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't know who won it, but I know there was a 7-person playoff yesterday in that Chevron Championship, which is a major. I'll have to look up and see who won that. But do you miss that Dell WGC match play? I always thought that was so much fun because that was very different and just kind of brought we play stroke play so every tournament except for the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup, and golf was invented in match play scenarios, and I hope they bring that back at some point. You got all these signature events now, and we kind of got away from those World Golf Championship events, kind of replaced by the signature events. But I would love to see a match play event come back.
I totally agree with you, and again, this just goes back to the dilution of the PGA Tour by LIV, and then, like you said, they had to come up with signature events, or they'd have to, but they did. So then you just have all this. It's like, well, we keep having to adapt and change. And sometimes change is great, but in this case, we lost something really fun in match play, which, like you said, it's a very, it's very cutthroat version of golf. It's like do or die. It's kill or be killed. It's, I just think there's something really magical about it. Now, it is hard to put fans out on the course during match play and that's what these tournaments look at. And also as the number of players shrink, it's harder and harder to get everybody out there to see it. So it's a little bit of a logistical nightmare running a tournament versus just having guys play on every single hole. Because when you've got fans out following a match and it ends on the 14th, then you don't have any golf for the next hour. And so like it gets a little goofy. I get it. But I just from the competitive standpoint, you're 100% right. We need more match play in professional golf.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and the viewership on TV should not. I mean, I understand the logistics of the golf course. You're going to have a lot of dead space on your course, but from the viewing from a television, obviously when the final events, and that's why they always had 2 matches. But anyway. Let's talk about some of the stuff you were talking about with me earlier today, and they were kind of popular a few years back, and it seems like they're kind of coming back with a vengeance here, and that's the mini drivers. I know TaylorMade has the R7 mini driver, and Titleist has one as well. The R7 Super Quad TP, the black one back in the day, was one of my favorite drivers TaylorMade ever put out.
Yeah, Sergio won a lot of tournaments and won a lot of money with that driver, and we now have the mini version of it, so it's I think it's a little over 300 cc's, and so it's a lot smaller than a regular driver, but it's bigger than a 3-wood. It's a club that you can use as a long second shot club, or you can use it off the tee for control. Titleist also has the GT280, which is a little bit smaller version of a mini driver. It looks like a sort of a pregnant 3-wood, but it's really good looking when you set it down. I know I've ordered one for myself. I'm excited to put it in play and see how it works. And then we also have the Callaway Elite mini driver as well. So we're just starting to get stock in on these new ones. We're not going to get a ton of it because it's not for everybody. It's definitely a niche product. But I'm excited to see, what's going to happen. And there's definitely guys on tour that are using them. And so we'll see what it does for the amateur ranks as well.
Absolutely. I know TaylorMade had that mini burner not too long ago. Now it seems like more companies are jumping on. I got to imagine they're probably not producing a ton or only producing them when ordered maybe, but do you have some of these in stock over there at Golf Plus?
Yeah, we've got a few of the GT280s, and we've got one of the TaylorMade Super Quads. We'll have more, or R7 Quads. We'll have more of them soon. But like you said, the quantity that is going to be produced is not super heavy. There's not going to be a ton of product in the marketplace because they know that it's niche. So they just don't want to have, tons and tons of product that just sits on the shelf. They'd rather just move it quickly and move a little bit of it and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. But so if you want to check them out there and maybe figure out if it's right for you, go check out Golf Plus here in Panama City Beach or up there in Dothan off Highway 231. Alan, golf ball fittings. We talk about club fitting and that all the time. For you, how important is golf ball fitting, and is that a service you guys offer?
Yeah, it is a service that we offer, and it is something that I feel is pretty important. It's one of those things where a lot of people... I'm jumping in the van.
You're fine. You're fine.
Sorry about the beeping real quick there.
We're inside the van. We're feeling it with you.
A lot of people overlook golf ball fitting in favor of other types of fittings, and they're all important. But with the golf ball, you get to deal with things like height and spin that you can't necessarily control with the clubs. So with the golf ball, I know when Rory switched golf balls a year or so ago, whenever he was talking about how much different it spun, how different it felt, that's just really important for better players, but it's also important for regular players as well, where I've got to have a ball that I can trust. I've got to have a ball that's consistent, and so getting fit for the proper golf ball can really make a big difference when you go out to the course.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we used to, when I was out there at Bay Point, we'd have some companies come in and do ball fittings because you just don't realize that, you think that the Titleist Pro V1 may be the best golf ball for you, and the Pro V1X may be or the TP5 or the TP may be the best because it's the quote-unquote most expensive and best golf ball. But the reality is you may fit into a Bridgestone, Ease whatever, or a Bridgestone B or whatever they are nowadays. I can't keep up with all of them. But you may think that just because it's the most expensive and the best golf ball on the market, the most purchased golf ball on the market, that it's right for you, when in reality, it actually may be hurting your game. So, not only does Golf Plus, can fit you for the right equipment, they can also fit you for the right golf ball as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's important. I know for me, I went from an X-style golf ball with lower spin and higher launch to a little bit softer golf ball recently, and the consistency, especially off the wedges, completely changed. The feel off the putter changed. And I'm just more confident with the golf ball now, and I'm more consistent with it. And, okay, I'm not always playing my best golf, and I'm not as good as some players, but if I could trust the golf ball, since that's the one piece of equipment I use on every single shot, that is honestly more important than anything else to me. I don't people that switch golf balls every couple of holes or try different things just because they found something in the woods, I discourage that a lot, not just for the sake of selling new golf balls, but just because you can't be consistent when you're changing balls shot to shot, hole to hole. That's just not the way it works in golf.
Absolutely. Great point on how important that golf ball really is. Alan, with the new Topgolf opening up here pretty soon, do you think that gets more people here in the area more involved in green grass golf? And you know what I mean by green grass golf, but for those who don't, green grass just means out there on the actual golf course, because that's more simulated golf. But do you think it gets more people into golf, or do you think it's solely for entertainment and fun for non-golfers?
I think it's like a 50-50, and I'm really excited about it, Ryan. I mean, I think this is great for our area. It's going to be the smallest market they've ever put a Topgolf into, and probably be the smallest market they'll ever put a Topgolf into, because typically it takes a very large city to be able to sustain something like that because of the fact that it is somewhat of just an entertainment venue. But what I've found traveling around and going to things is we'll use Topgolf as a place for business meetings. We'll use it for date nights. We'll use it for a lot of different things, and so sometimes you're bringing people into Topgolf who've never actually played golf before. Now they get this sort of fun, game-like environment to test it out, and then maybe they'll translate into green grass golfers. And then for the green grass golfers who maybe play regular golf, but it just gives you something where it's like, okay, this is a different way to do it, something to kind of get my fix. Maybe I don't have time to go to the course, spend 4 or 5 hours, but I can do this for an hour. And so I just think it's going to be huge for golf in general in our area. I think it's going to bring people in from within a couple hours around. I think I could see people driving from Destin, Pensacola, Tallahassee, Dothan, all around, driving down here just for that. And then maybe they stay, spend the night, play golf at one of our courses here, maybe come shop at Golf Plus and eat at some of our great restaurants. I'm so excited for Topgolf. And I've had a lot of people suggest to me, like, is this a problem for you? Is this a threat to you? I'm like, man, there's no way. This is a rising tide lifts all ships, and I'm excited for Topgolf.
Yeah, I had a lot of people ask me that same question when it was first announced that it was coming here to. Well, originally it was a Big Shots over there at where Legacy is,
right.
But then
That's right.
Then obviously it moved to the Topgolf franchise. But yeah, I mean, high tide floats all ships, like you said, and people, if they start getting involved in the game of golf, where do they need to go? They need to go get equipment. They need to get golf balls. They need to learn how to play the game of golf. So retail shops, green grass courses, instructors should be pretty excited about the Topgolf opening up here in Panama City Beach very, very soon. It's looking good over there, that's for sure. Alan, I just had kind of a personal golf question for you. What type of golf course is your favorite type of golf course?
Ooh, well, when I'm hitting the ball good off the tee, I prefer a traditional, little bit of hills, a lot of trees, elevated greens. So like a Robert Trent Jones style golf course, something I really like. Those courses where you have elevation changes and you have to really deal with the different types of shots that brings. But if you're not hitting the ball well off the tee, those tree-lined courses can be a little bit annoying. But that being said, I've played several courses that were more of that link style, and that's nice and wide open, but just makes it a lot harder to find your ball because you can't ever have a spot to pick out and be like, okay, I think that's where my ball went. There's no marker to really
targets. It's
follow
hard.
it. So, but that's it's interesting. I mean, like you can go to the Robert Trent Jones Trail course up in above Montgomery and Prattville, and you've got 3 unique golf courses there, and one of them is more link style, and the others are different. But that's a great place to kind of go, like see what different golf courses are like. But yeah, for me, it's just the old school, traditional tree lines, elevated greens. Make me work for my birdies and pars.
Yeah, absolutely. I prefer the I grew up in the Northeast, so we didn't have homes on golf courses and that kind of stuff. A lot of Parkland-style golf courses with fairways back-to-back with one another. Of course, tree-lined and all that, but, you could spray one over the trees and still have a shot back to that same hole. So, I kind of enjoyed that, obviously. But, just like you kind of said, I love a traditional golf course, good, juicy, rough, elevated greens, and where you got to hit good golf shots. And, I also, grew up in the Northeast, so I'm used to that cool season grass. I remember the first time I came down and putted on Bermuda greens, I was like, what are these things? They are a lot more difficult to putt on, in my opinion. And, of course, Bermuda rough is certainly challenging because that ball will sit all the way down to the soil, and you can't even get the club face on it. But
oh, yeah. And if you just hate yourself, go find you some Kikuyu grass and see if you can get out of that stuff. I mean, I've been to the West Coast and played on some courses out there where I just absolutely drive myself bonkers trying to get, chips to do what they do on Bermuda. I grew up in the South, so I'm used to this. But when I occasionally get to go up a little farther north and putt on some bent grass greens, now that's amazing. That's like putting on perfect carpet, but you can't get that down here because of the heat, so it's just too hot.
Absolutely. The course I worked at in South Carolina, in the Aiken area, despite being pretty far south, we still had bent grass greens. I think they've converted all of them now, which makes sense. But, you get spoiled putting on those bent grass greens because there's no grain. They roll pretty darn true, especially if you got a good super. And, Bermuda, there's a lot more factors, although the Ultra Dwarfs have come a long way with reducing that grain and that different kind of stuff. But, yeah, so, Alan, just remind everybody real quick where your two locations are and what your primary services are there at Golf Plus.
Yeah, so Golf Plus is a two-location mini chain, if you want to call it that. We're in Dothan, Alabama on Montgomery Highway. We've been in the same spot for 36 years there, just up the hill from Beef O'Brady's. And then here in Panama City Beach, we are right next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. So if you know where Rocket Lanes and Firefly is, you know where we are. And our primary function is fitting, club repair, and retail. We love to get people fit up for the right products and help them make those good decisions. Making a buying decision, whether it's a car, whether it's jewelry, whether it's clothing, or whether it's golf clubs, you're going to spend the same amount of money pretty much wherever you go. You might as well go somewhere where they're going to help you, give you the best service, and treat you like your family. And that's what we try to do. And that's not a sales pitch. That's just what we've been doing for 36 years. So come see us.
Very, very successful. You feel like family, and none of your salespeople are commissioned, so they're not trying to make a buck selling you certain things. They're really there for you and 100% all for you and getting you the best equipment in your hand and giving you the best opportunity to shoot the lowest scores you can. Alan, we appreciate your time as always. We appreciate your studio sponsorship and look forward to talking to you next week.
All right. Ryan, y'all be good. Thanks, Jim.
Take care. Take care. That was Alan Watson, the owner of Golf Plus. Didn't realize how important golf ball fitting was, did you? But it is.
I had no idea that was even a thing.
There you go. Hopefully there was a lot of people listening that didn't either, that are maybe some avid golfers out there that may look at what they're using, that little white pellet. They're not all the same. They're all round. They all have dimples, but the insides are all very different. You're listening to The Inside Drive. Final segment coming up next.
The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
Hi, this is Dave Neat from Panama City Beach, and I just won $250 from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida playing the Big Bracket Challenge. Thank you so much to Pepsi, Panama City, Toyota, PCB Hobby for making this happen. It was a lot of fun playing against other listeners and staff. Can't wait till next year. And go Ducks!
It's ESPN Northwest Florida.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
Introducing Southern Breeze Primary Care. With 45 years of experience, owners Holly Gay and Lisa King bring warm, friendly care, Southern charm, and a family vibe. They are the pros in youth sports, physicals, general health care, Bio-T hormone replacement therapy, certified DOT exams, and Coast Guard physicals. Southern Breeze, 107 West 19th Street, Suite B, 850-248-8002. Walk-ins are welcome and insurance is accepted but not required. Southern Aaron Breeze offers breezy solutions for your healthcare needs.
Introducing the Peaceful Living Executive Planner and Daily Agenda, your faithful companion for 2025. Designed to help you navigate life with faith, gratitude, and intentionality, this planner will inspire, uplift, and guide you towards a peaceful and purpose-filled year. Get daily inspirational quotes and a peaceful word of the day, plus weekly challenges and monthly reflections. A vision board to map out your dreams. Embrace peace and purpose every day with the Peaceful Living Executive Planner and Daily Agenda. Get yours now at FroyersMin.com.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. Live from the 19th hole.
I can't believe you're a professional golfer. I think you should be working at the snack bar.
It's the Inside Drive.
The price is wrong.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Regional baseball action continuing on with several local teams still in the mix. We'll start with 2A. The Bozeman Bucks got the win last week over Bowles there at UNF. So they move on to the regional semifinals for the Class 2A State Baseball Championship. Region 1 up here in Northwest Florida. It's the only thing in the entire bracket that doesn't say where it is for the first two games. I know Bishop Snyder is the number 2 seed, but I don't know if they won their district or not because it's got Bozeman as the bottom. I think the bottom team is the home team indeed. So
normally that's how it goes. So,
but on the two earlier, the away team was actually at the bottom one. So who knows? I hope they'll repopulate where it's supposed to be. But Bozeman is playing a 3-game series against Bishop Snyder for a trip to the regional finals in the Region 1A. So congratulations to the Bozeman Bucks.
Hard-fought series for them, too. They lost pretty big in Game 1 and then bounced back in the next 2 games.
And then 4-3 in that
final game?
Yeah, what is it called? The rubber match game.
Yeah.
I was drawing a huge blank there again, but that happens a lot lately. Over there in the Class 3A tournament, gets underway tonight. South Walton will take on the 5-seed West Nassau, who had to play Fernandina Beach in 3 games, and West Nassau came out on top in that one 2-1 after they went down 5-6 in the first one, won the next 2 games 5-4, 5-4. They will take on the powerhouse of South Walton over there in South Walton for games 1 and 2. The third game is necessary. It will be over there with the West Nassau team. Also, you got West Florida taking on Suwannee in the Region 1 Class 3A semifinal, the other side of the bracket. Winner of that series will take on the winner of South Walton and West Nassau. See, but you can't bet on high school baseball because I would certainly bet on South Walton to come out of that.
Yeah, you ain't wrong there, bro.
No hate to West Nassau, but
they'd be like a Cam Ward type favorite.
Yeah, be like, maybe you could bet the spread, though. It'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. All right, moving on to the 4A. That gets underway tonight right here in Panama City Beach, and that is your Arnold Marlins, who beat Fort Walton 2-0 in that series and are well rested for the series against Choctawhatchee. That starts tonight. I did go on GoFan to see if GoFan has the right, and everything's saying 7 p.m. So hopefully it's not at 6 p.m. Hopefully it is at 7 p.m., and that is a best out of 3 against Choctawhatchee. Games 1 and 2 will be right here at Arnold's campus. So looking forward to maybe sneaking out for one of those games. I know couldn't tomorrow, so would have to sneak out for today. On the other side of the 4A Region 1 bracket in the other semifinal is Clay and Escambia. Both of those teams came out of their opening match 2-0, so that'll be a good match between the 2 and 3 seed. And Arnold is the 1 seed and Choctawhatchee is the 4 seed. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in the regional semifinals with a trip to the regional final on the line. If Arnold wins over Choctawhatchee, they'll be hosting that regional final as they are the number 1 seed. So get out there and support all the local teams still playing in the state championship tournaments as we're winding down the school year. We really got about a month left to go. I mean, we're about 4 weeks out from Memorial Day, and then 2 days later, boom, school is out. Summertime is here. Sign up for those golf camps, including my good friend Jay Henley. He's got all sorts of fun stuff going on this summer. Just check out golfwithjay.com. He's even got a cool night golf camp going on. I've played some night golf. We've done night golf, but never a night golf camp. So kudos to Jay for having the cojones to put on a night golf camp out there, and hopefully he and everybody else stays safe. But what a fun opportunity for your kids to get out out there and have some fun, because that's really what the game of golf is all about, is just having some fun out there. All right, just a reminder, your Atlanta Braves, who are 7-3 in their last 10 games, are now 12-15 on the season. They'll be taking on the Colorado Rockies for a little early week 2-gamer. Starts tonight. Coverage right here on ESPN Northwest Florida at 6:25. First pitch at 7:40. Run that back again tomorrow night, 6:25 coverage, followed by that first pitch at 7:40. Hopefully they can take these 2 games there from the Colorado Rockies and get 1 game close to being 500 on the season. All right, let's see. I want to pick some games coming up tonight there, David Hayes. We got some NHL and some NBA action coming up. What do you want to start with, NHL or NBA?
Let's go NBA.
NBA, the National Basketball Association, Monday, April 28th. First, we have the opportunity for the Cleveland Cavaliers to sweep the Miami Heat. That's down there in Miami at the Chiesa Center. I don't know what that is, but that's where they play basketball, apparently. You think Cleveland finishes it off tonight?
Yeah, give me the number 1 seed, man. They've been playing great ball. Miami's, not the team that we've seen them be in the past here in the playoffs, so I think you get a clean sweep here by the Cavaliers.
There you go. Do they cover the 9.5 points in this one?
Ooh, I'll say yes.
Yeah, I think they've covered every game so far. Don't quote me on that. I haven't looked at it. But 9.5 points there is the spread on ESPN Bet anyway. I'm sure on Hard Rock it's probably pretty similar. Over under 211.5.
That one's tough because Cleveland's going to be like in the 112 range.
Yep.
But I don't think that Miami gets over.
It's the Miami part that's the tough one.
So I'll say under. Give me, what'd you say, 221 or you said 211?
211.5.
Oh,
so far, Miami scored 121 to 100, 121 to 112, 124 to 87. So they've been over 120 all 3 games. So all Miami would need to do is get to 90 points if they get over 120, or at least 91 points.
Give me, all right, you've changed my mind. you have swayed me. I will take the over.
The persuasion to the bet. Well, we'll find out. I think they cover, and I think it's the over. I agree with you there wholeheartedly. Going back to the second game on the docket tonight, the Rockets at the Warriors. I think the Warriors have won every series that they've been up, except for maybe one in the last 10 years or so when they got up 2-1 in the series. So things are looking good there for Golden State. Can the Rockets get the series tied up out there in San Francisco at the Chase Center? What do you think?
I think, yeah. I'll say the Houston Rockets are going to be highly physical again, and they're going to bring this to a 2-2 series.
Yeah, Steph currently averaging 24.5 points per game in this series. He's obviously going to need to be a big part of it. I think Jimmy only played, 7-8 minutes or so in that last game?
And I don't know about in the last game. I know in game 2, that's when he got hurt with the pelvic.
Yeah, I didn't know if he actually got some time or not, but he had a pretty good pelvic contusion, I think is what they
that's what it was.
But do you think they covered the 3.5 points?
Golden State's 3.5-point favorite?
Correct.
Well, no, if I'm going to take Houston to win the game.
Oh, you took Houston. I thought you said Golden State.
No, I'm going to say, Golden State has the lead in the series, right?
Correct, 2-1.
Yeah, so I'm going to say Houston ties the series up.
Okay. Hard Rock, it's actually 4. Over under 203. It's a low number.
I'm going to say over.
Yeah.
Man, that's one of those enticing ones right there, isn't it?
That's they're trying to get you to bet a certain way. That's what that looks like. That's for sure. But yeah, on Hard Rock, looking at Golden State -4, over under 203. On ESPN Bet, it's 202.5. But you can't bet on ESPN Bet here in Florida. You can just use that Hard Rock action. So yeah, I like that too. I like Houston. I would take them with the +4 at -105. That's pretty darn good. And then I would take the over. Actually, I might do that. That's one of those ones that seems like, hey, right here, flashing lights.
Right.
And then they shut the door on you right there at the end. But yeah, I like it. Let's move over to the NHL side of things. You got some serious interest in this game coming up tonight. That's the Lightning at the Panthers. As Al said earlier on today's show, the road team has won all 3 games so far in that series. Does the trend continue tonight, or does Florida break that trend and take a 3-1 series lead back to Tampa?
Well, normally I'm not a huge fan of trends. I'm not speaking about in the betting world. You do got to kind of follow those.
Yeah.
But I hope that the trend continues tonight. So give me the Lightning tonight at +130. It's moved up from +125 to +130.
Dang.
I don't know if that's on Hard Rock.
Hard Rock's 125.
Okay.
And over under 5.5. See, this is where these type of games, these are where I like to bet the individual goal scoring totals.
Okay.
Let's see what that is. Panthers goal total is 3.5. Lightning goal total is 2.5. If the Lightning are going to win the game, they're going to have to score more than 3 points. So I would take the over, or 3 goals, excuse me. I would take the over.
I think that it's going to go just how, all right, so you look at game 1, it was 6-2. They went, Florida wins by 4 goals.
Yep.
Then they bounce back Thursday evening, and not bounce back, but they win 2-0.
Yep.
Then the Lightning are on the road. They win 5-1. So I think that you get very much of the same. I like the under 5.5 tonight and the Lightning winning.
Under betting in hockey is so stressful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all the betting is stressful, but...
Well, the empty netters, I think, is what makes it the hardest. Because then you're sitting there at the end, like, you've got a 2-1 game, and you're like, all right, I know for a fact, like, 1 more goal is going to get scored. Will this other team score a goal to kind of get you over that number you need to get to?
Absolutely, absolutely. I like that breakdown of that one. That's a good point. Talking about trends. One team scores a bunch, then it was a close game. One team scores a bunch, maybe this one would be the close game. So
Vasi for the shutout. Let's go.
Ooh, I like it. That would follow the trend to a T.
Yeah.
That would be good.
2-0. Light. I'm going to go exact score tonight.
Hey, if you hit those are good. Those pay out a lot. The nightcap over there in Dallas, Texas, trying to break the 2-2 tie. I'm sure there's some statistics somewhere that when the series is tied 2-2, the team that ends up winning that game when it's tied probably goes on to win the series more often than not. Obviously, the odds are in their favor. Colorado Avalanche at the Dallas Stars, little Western Conference matchup there. All the Western Conference series tied at 2-2. This will be the first one that breaks it. Currently, Colorado is a 1.5 point favorite. They're a 1.5 point favorite, but on Hard Rock, that favorite, they're plus 160.
And this is another series where the road team has won every game, right? Or did Colorado and Dallas split in Dallas?
I will answer that question.
Because I know Saturday night, Colorado won 4-0.
Colorado won at the Stars, and then they lost at the Stars 4-3, and then they lost at home against the Stars, and then they won the last game 4-0. Yeah, it's split between both.
Oh, man. Give me Colorado tonight.
Yeah,
I think we should just be impressed the fact that Dallas, with all the injuries that they sustained, are at this point in the series here tied at 2.
Yeah, it's going to be rocking at American Airlines Center. What about the points? Would you take them? Well, if you're taking them straight up, that's plus 120. So if you took them with the points, that's minus 210. So you might as well just take them straight up.
What is the over/under? 5.5.
5.5. Yep.
Oh man, tough one. I think we get a hard battle tonight, low-scoring game. I'd go with the under.
I like that. I think both goaltenders are going to play really well
Ottinger
in this pivotal game 5, which, like I said, when you break that 2-2 tie, usually that team goes on to win. So especially if the Avalanche can win this one, they go back home with then a chance to clinch the series, which seems to have a little more weight sometimes. But yeah, so 2 games in each sport coming up tonight. As we mentioned earlier, I don't think we said who won the team event. That was Andrew Novak and Ben Griffin. When I'm back on Wednesday, we'll have Keith Fleming on the line. He had another winner, if you listen to him, because Novak and Griffin were one of his picks to win, and they came out to win that one at minus 28 and had a really nice birdie in the alternate shot format on Sunday on 17 to kind of secure that victory with a 1-stroke lead. Kind of fun to see that format go down where they have to play a ball, each of their own balls, and then they have to play the alternate shot, which is always fun because I feel like you always play golf, but when your shot matters for your partner too, it puts a little more pressure on these guys, and you see a little bit more wayward shot action there.
This is neither here nor there, but back in the day, I'm sure you've played golf by yourself a few times, right? Did you play 2 balls every time, or did you just play 1?
No, but if I wanted to work on something, I would drop some more and hit somebody, and I'd always play 1. And I don't know why. I just felt like if I played 2, and the first one's the one that I would count.
Right. No,
and then the second one, if I did that, I'd be like, well, that's hypothetical, so to speak. So.
I only played 2 when, and I don't play golf by myself very often, but when the people in front of me are just slow.
When I used to play by myself growing up, I would be out there late afternoon at a golf course walking, and you really can't go that fast. But we appreciate you hanging out with us today on the Inside Drive. Max Delighten will be covering me tomorrow. I'll be back Wednesday. We appreciate you tuning in. Afternoon Underdogs, followed by the Braves coming up later on.
the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN.